Hey, Merry Christmas and soon Happy New Year. I hope you've had a really nice Christmas despite this year being what it is. And, let's hope that next year is going to be a better one and we start going back to what used to be a normal life before all of this madness. So this week, I'm actually not going to do Lick of the Week. I decided to do a little Christmas gift. Something I've been working on for a very long time, for several years, and it's the documentary about my project, Radioactive, my solo project that I've been working on. Next year, it's actually turning 30, so I'm doing a new one, a Radioactive 5 that I've started, and features some pretty cool people, and I'm also finishing the big documentary that might even turn into 2 documentaries, because the first one is over 2 hours and it's only about the first album that I started in '91 with Jeff, Mike, Steve Proctor and David Page, and the guys from Toto as my backing band. And it took 10 years to finish that album, and it had some 35 legendary guests from David Foster to all the session gods, to Bobby Kimball and Fergie Fredrickson and Joseph Williams and Fee Waybill, and all the way down the list. And that started my adventure with this. So what I'm gonna do now for you here is that I actually put together a kind of teaser video to give you an idea of the material that I have for this. So what you're gonna see is this is not the actual documentary, because that is edited in a better way and color corrected and better quality with everything, but you still get an idea of some of the really cool material that's in it and what it's all about. The reason I started Radioactive was because I got fed up with being a member of bands. Mostly I've been a studio musician, songwriter and producer through my life anyway, but it just felt right to do a solo project. And I had moved to Los Angeles in 1987. I already knew the Toto guys. They were on tour in Sweden, and in the summer of 1991 they played a small town up north in Sweden called Luleå. And I went up there and just spent a couple of days with the band and saw the show and everything, and which turned out to be the last tour that dear Jeff Proctor did with the band. You have these moments in life, these like life-changing moments that will define your life forever. And the morning after their show, we were all sitting in the lobby at the hotel. It was the whole band of Toto, and me and my girlfriend at the time, and 2 other friends. And it was just dead silence. Everyone was sitting there being a bit tired, and people were reading and this and that. And I hear myself asking a question the same microsecond it pops up in my head. I didn't even have time to stop myself from asking it. So I hear myself say to the guys in Toto, if I get a record deal, would you play on my album? And they everyone just looked up and went, yeah, of course. And I said, okay, cool. And it went back to being silent. And for a couple of minutes, I sat there and I said to myself, did I ask that and they said yes, or did this just happen in my head? And so Jeff Proctor called me over and said, come over here. And we walked over to the lobby, to reception in the hotel. And he asked for paper and pen, and we just walked around the whole band. This was before, the cell phones and internet and all of that stuff. So basically you had regular home phones, and so he just walked around to everyone in the band and said, write down the best number for Tommy to reach you at. So it was Jeff gave me his number, Mike his number, Steve Picard's number, Steve Luke at the David Page, and Jeff just handed me these papers and he said, "Get a record deal, and we'll play on your album." And it was like the most surreal moment in my life. I was 23 years old, and lucky coincidence, somebody that I knew at Sony Records, Swedish guy, happened to be at that hotel, and just a few minutes after this I see him in the reception. So I just walk up to him, I show him the numbers, and tell him, if you guys sign me, Toto will play on my album. And he looked really surprised and he said, "What, really?" Ended up that when they flew back to Stockholm after the show, he asked the guys on the plane, like, is this for real? Will you actually play on this album if we sign him? And everyone in the band said, sign him, do this, we'll play on the album. Absolutely. So I ended up signing with Sony, getting a deal a few months after this, packing my bags, going to LA for 3 weeks to record the 10 songs with Jeff and Mike and Steve Picard and David Page. And the way that especially Jeff and Mike Porcaro helped me with this was very tough times, because you couldn't email, you had to fax people, or you had to make expensive phone calls from Sweden to America, and it was tough for me to try to organize the recording. So Jeff Porcaro called me in Sweden and said, "What's your budget? What's your time frame? And I'll help you out." So he started making phone calls for me and got the studio. He got Jess Sutcliffe, the engineer who had just recorded Toto's Kingdom of Desire. He got the same studio. Jeff called people, owners, and asked for favors for me, this little kid from Sweden. I got to LA, and Mike Porcaro did the same thing. He came and picked me up at the hotel, which was where the hotel was. It was 40 minutes to the studio, and Mike lived in between. So he drove in LA traffic 20 minutes down to the hotel, helped me carry all the stuff, drove me all the way up to the studio. I didn't have a driver's license back then, and helped me carry all of the stuff. He even paid for lunches. I mean, it was just amazing. And after every day of recording, he asked me and my girlfriend, like, you want to go to dinner? And we're like, sure. So he took us to these nice restaurants and bought dinners and everything for us. And it was like just a very surreal time, I mean, we were really, really good friends. But the way that especially Jeff and Mike were, through all the years that I knew them, sadly both of them are not with us anymore. They are the kindest, most amazing people I have met in my whole life in this business. Role models, and every musician on this planet and every fan on this planet who ever met them knows exactly what I'm talking about. It was very unique to walk next to these giants, both as musicians but also as humans. They were absolutely fantastic, and I'm going into all of this in detail in the documentary, the big one. This is just a teaser to show you what it's about, some of the cool stuff that I'm sitting on. I have hours and hours of videotapes from that first recording with those guys in '91. I have about 45 minutes from that recording. Some of it is on YouTube already, but most of it has never been seen before, and in as good quality as you can get 30 years later from those kind of video cameras. But it's I'm showing some stuff in this little teaser that actually probably won't be in the big documentary. So this is a little teaser, but also exclusive peek into the world of Radioactive. So the first documentary will be about the creating the project and doing the first album. And the second documentary will be about the other 3 albums that I did after, showing even how to play some of the songs, a lot of cool interviews with people that have been involved, and all of this leading up also to the new album that I'm working on that's going to be out, I hope, before the summer, because I'm deep into it already. So instead of Lick of the Week, I'm giving you a little Christmas gift with this teaser, and I sincerely hope you have a great new year, and that I will see a lot of you people for real next year, and that we get rid of this pandemic and we start rebuilding the world again, because we desperately need things to come back. So a late Merry Christmas and an early Happy New Year, and best wishes to you all. Ciao. So before we start this little teaser movie, don't forget to subscribe and share and spread the links everywhere. I'm so thrilled that we've gone almost up to 2,000 subscribers already, and it's going to be a lot of fun to build this channel next year. I just discovered some interviews that I made a long time ago in the early 90s with Mike Porcaro and Steve Porcaro and Michael Lando and Tommy Tedesco, studio musician legends that I did phone interviews with, and that have never been released. So I'm actually even gonna start posting some cool interviews. There's gonna be a lot of fun stuff coming on this channel. So please subscribe and join the party. Maybe the most surreal part about doing the first Radioactive album is that I was actually only 23 years old, and I had Toto as my backing band, and I was producing them. So to sit in a studio in Los Angeles, the great Castle Oak studio, telling Jeff and Mike Porcaro how to play things, or no, it should be a little faster, it should be this and that, like producing them, not that they needed a lot of producing, was something that to this day is one of the coolest experience of my life. And we had so much fun, and they loved doing the first Radioactive, because both of them were rockers. They grew up with Jimi Hendrix, and they loved rock stuff, but they rarely got booked to play on sessions like this. And especially Jeff absolutely loved the fact that he got to play heavier stuff, and we didn't do it to a click track. We actually just played live, and because normally you would have a click track in the headphones to keep the tempo perfect, so you can sync up things and this and that. I wanted it to be live, so we just played. We recorded the drums, bass, and my guitars live in the studio. I already knew then that I was going to redo my guitars back home, so I felt pretty calm about playing in that situation, because I didn't have to record anything that was going to be kept for the album. So I could focus more about what they were playing and very much enjoying the moment. And I did, because almost 30 years later, it's still one of the greatest memories of my life, and it will forever be that way.
Get back to normal. That's why I've always been fucked up.
I know. Well, that's what I'm going with. We're off to a quick start. That's it.
Hey, Bo.
What?
Where's the Roland coming up there? Find out. See,
Tommy! Electric guitars are still here.
Tommy Denander.
When you sent me the tape, or the file rather, I kind of defiled it. I thought it was just kind of funny that I took that song "Crimes of Passion" and used the intro of it and made the song out of it. And I was working with Vince DiCola, who's absolutely one of my favorite keyboard players and a wonderful guy. We went over to his studio and chopped your masterpiece up, left the best parts on the cutting room floor, and took it home and wrote lyrics to it, and recorded it, sent it back to you. You know, I didn't want to call you and let you know that we had chopped your song up until afterwards. This is what you get, babe. Welcome to LA. They chop everything up here.
Something different about you. Oh!
here we are, Ventura.
On the pier?
On the pier, bravo.
The dude. The
No,
man.
you. No,
No, you.
No,
No,
you.
you.
No,
No,
you.
you.
No,
No,
you.
no, me. No, you.
Yeah, you. No, you.
No, you.
Yeah, you.
No, you.
No, you. Good.
Actually, him.
So tell me, what do you think about the show in Stockholm last night?
I think the show in Stockholm was a show in Stockholm.
So how was the tequila?
The tequila made me sick as dog.
You don't
Sick like dog.
What do you know? So don't mix.
Don't mix tequila
And
Red Bull.
I'm here with Danger Start expert Jimmy Jameson. You ready?
Ready.
That's the eye of the tiger.
I think I got a great melody for this song. She's a beauty. Kind of goes like that. Tommy played on my solo album, my second solo album, which we did in '96. And he was in LA, and I was recording with Richard Marx and this guy named Bruce Gaich. Well, Tommy sent me this great song, this great track. It was one of those songs that it just came out right away. It wasn't a song I had to labor over.